There is a quiet place within you, steady and untouched by insult, storm, or misfortune. A still point in a restless world. It does not collapse when challenged. It does not beg for approval or shrink from rejection. It is the seat of your reason, your values, your peace. The Stoics believed this inner ground could remain unshaken if you choose to guard it. You are not made to be ruled by noise, whether the clamor of crowds or the echoes of your own fear. You were made to stand firm when conditions shift, to acknowledge pain without surrendering to it, to feel emotion without being carried away by it. The Stoic does not deny that hardships come, that injustice stings, that storms rage. They simply refuse to give their peace away. In the face of insult, delay, betrayal, or failure, they remain steady, not because they are free from feeling, but because they have trained their mind not to hand over control to what lies outside them. They remind themselves each day, what truly belongs to them cannot be taken. Peace, they understood, is not the absence of difficulty. It is the presence of clarity, guided by reason, shaped by virtue. It does not arrive by chance. It does not depend on fortune. It is cultivated step by step through inner discipline. Stillness is not stumbled into, it is built. And when the world presses hard, you return to that place. You sit within it and say, I do not control what happens, but I control how I meet it. This is not about pretending the world is kind. It is not about retreat or indifference. It is about awakening the guardian within, the one who says, yes, pain exists. Yes, things fall apart, but I will not fall apart with them. This is how you build what no one can touch, a calm that weathers storms, a steadiness tested in daily trials, a serenity proven in silence. Let nothing take your peace. Not today, not ever. Chapter 1. Peace is a discipline. Peace is not handed to you, it is formed. It is strengthened through choice, refined through challenge, confirmed in discomfort. Serenity is not an accident. It must be practiced, not with violence or force, but with patient discipline. The Stoics did not wait for the world to quiet down. They prepared for its noise. They met its storms with steady minds. They knew that tranquility is not found in the world, but forged within. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. The truth is clear. If your peace is broken, it is not the world that has taken it. It is you who have handed it away. Most live like this. Calm only when life is smooth. Steady only when nothing disturbs them. But the Stoic trains to remain composed even when conditions are rough, when things do not go as planned, when life resists expectation. Peace that exists only in silence will falter when conflict arrives. True peace is tested in noise, in tension, in the weight of daily strain. The Stoic does not seek to be hardened by chaos, but to remain steady within it, to stay soft in character, yet firm in principle. Peace is not fragile. It is strengthened through practice. Each time you resist the impulse to retaliate, it grows. Each time you pause before responding and choose a wiser word, it becomes steadier. Each time you hold your tongue in insult, bring your mind back when it drifts, or return to your breath when anxiety presses, you are exercising composure. These are not passive moments. They are deliberate acts of discipline, clarity, and courage. Just as the body gains strength through use, the mind becomes quieter, sharper, and more stable through practice. To cultivate peace is to cultivate attention. The Stoic returns to the breath not out of ritual, but because it anchors the mind. It is the bridge between disorder and calm, a reminder that presence is always one breath away. In that moment, the storm loses its grip. The Stoic does not chase every argument or seize every chance to prove superiority. They know that a victory won at the expense of serenity is no victory at all. Many disputes arrive disguised as justice, but are only ego in another form, and ego is the thief of peace. Seeing this clearly, they step aside. Peace, then, is not a fleeting feeling. It is a posture toward life. It is how you remain standing when pressed, how you breathe when pressured, how you carry yourself when the world pulls at your edges. The untrained mind spends its peace on every provocation. The trained mind preserves it, holding it carefully, using it wisely, like a blade that is drawn only when truly needed. To sheath it is not weakness, but wisdom. Calm is not passivity. It is precision. It is power under control. It is strength without display. And it is most necessary on the days when you are tempted to abandon it. The days of criticism, dismissal, misunderstanding, delay, and silence. Peace is not something to be kept only in fair weather. It is rebuilt whenever life tears at it, returned to again and again with intention and humility. It is your refuge, your foundation, your inner ground. When the world is loud, you cannot wait for it to fall quiet. You must choose stillness within it. Peace is not granted by approval, nor taken away by insult. It is not conditional on recognition or understanding. It is forged when you decide to stop handing your emotions to the chaos around you. Peace is not passive. It is strength in stillness. It is clarity in motion. It is courage without aggression. And it is yours to build, one choice at a time. Peace is not something given freely. It is earned in how you respond, in the patience you show in discomfort, in the choice to remain steady when noise surrounds you. It grows in the pause before you speak, in the breath you take before you act, in the decision to walk away instead of escalate. It is found in the wisdom to ask, what will cost me less, my pride or my peace? Peace does not come from always being right. It comes from being rooted. It comes from standing on values that are not shaken by opinion. From knowing who you are when no one notices, when no one approves. Peace is a home you build within yourself, and no storm outside can undo what you have built inside. If you value it, you must protect it. Guard it from false urgency. Guard it from small battles that drain your attention. Guard it from those who seek to provoke. To defend your peace is not weakness. It is wisdom. And once you have built it, tested it, and returned to it through storms, you will see clearly. No insult, no delay, no discomfort is worth surrendering it. For when you hold your peace, you hold your strength, your direction, your very self. Chapter 2. The world owes you nothing. The quickest way to lose your peace is to expect the world to meet your expectations. If your serenity depends on how others behave, you have built your house on sand. The Stoic understood that entitlement is the enemy of calm. To believe people should act a certain way, or that life should unfold according to your script, is to set yourself up for disappointment. Because the world is not obligated to cooperate with your preferences. Traffic will not part for your schedule. People will not always speak kindly, nor act justly. If peace depends on fairness from the crowd, it will never last. Disappointment is rarely about what happened. It is about what was expected. We are not broken by events, but by the ideas we carried into them. Epictetus taught, Do not demand that things happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do, and you will live well. This is not apathy. It is alignment with reality. It is the understanding that peace is not found in control, but in cooperation with truth as it is. When you release the illusion of control over others, you gain mastery over yourself. This is the Stoic exchange. We do not govern outcomes, nor the behavior of others. What we can govern are our choices, our values, our interpretations. We guide our attention. We decide what meaning to give, how much energy to spend, and what direction to take. Peace begins not when the world bends to our desires, but when we learn to bend ourselves toward what the moment asks of us. It begins when we stop asking, "Why aren't they better?" and begin asking, "How can I respond with strength, grace, and clarity, regardless of what they do?" The idea of should is often a hidden demand, a contract we have written that no one else has agreed to. It assumes people owe us kindness, that plans must unfold perfectly, that life must be fair. But the world is not built on our preferences. The moment we tie our peace to everything aligning with our desires, we hand it over to chance. Life then becomes a courtroom, with us as the prosecutor, and the world is always on trial. Every missed expectation becomes a new charge, every inconvenience a verdict of injustice. The Stoic does not live in that courtroom. They set down the gavel, they step outside, they let go of the illusion that life must conform to their terms in order to have meaning. They do not argue with reality, they work with it. They walk alongside it as a teacher rather than resist it as an enemy. They see the futility in asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and instead turn to, "Now that it is, what will I do?" In that shift lies freedom. The answer becomes the path forward. So what happens if you let go? If you loosen the clenched fist and allow life to be what it is, while you remain who you are? What if you stopped trying to command the ocean and instead learned how to sail? What if you accepted the moment not as defeat, but as the next chance to practice your virtues? Patience, courage, humility, endurance. These qualities are not born in comfort. They are formed in difficulty. They grow not in still waters, but in the waves. The Stoic knows this. They do not wait for perfect conditions to act with integrity. They act with virtue regardless of the weather. They do not wait for harmony before practicing harmony. Acceptance is not surrender, it is clarity. It is looking at life as it is, without bitterness or distortion. It is saying, "This is what stands before me. Now, who will I be in response to it?" To accept is not to approve. It is to see clearly, to adjust without resentment, to adapt not because the world is greater than you, but because you are strong enough to remain steady within it. Adaptation is not weakness, it is wisdom. To see clearly that life bends for no one, and to move with it rather than break against it. The tree that sways in the storm is the tree that endures. Rigidity snaps, but principled flexibility survives. Act with principle, not entitlement. Let your response reflect your values, not your frustrations. Respond with vision, not impulse. Lead with purpose, not panic. Live as if the world owes you nothing, and as if you owe the world your best. In this way, peace is not something you merely keep. It is something you command. It becomes like a steady flame in a world of wind. And a peace that is commanded is a peace no one can take. It becomes your foundation, your freedom, the quiet proof that strength does not always raise its voice. Sometimes it is simply the refusal to flinch. Sometimes it is calm itself that speaks the loudest. Chapter 3. Feeling without drowning. The Stoic does not suppress emotion. They study it. They watch it carefully, not with fear, but with attention. Emotions are visitors, not rulers. They arrive and depart. They do not need to take the throne. You are not required to obey them or let them speak for you. They are information, not commands. To protect peace, you must learn how to feel without being swept away, to let the waves pass without being carried by their current. Sadness will come, anger will rise, fear will appear. These are not failures. They are part of being human. The goal is not to eliminate them. The goal is not to become them. You feel anger, but you are not anger. You feel fear, but you are not fear. There is a difference. To live with clarity is to place emotion in its proper frame. The Stoic does not chase constant positivity. They seek understanding. They do not deny their pain. They simply refuse to let pain decide who they will become. They leave space for tears, but not tantrums, room for grief, but not for chaos, to take command. Seneca warned, emotion turns destructive when we mistake it for truth. Feelings are not facts. Anger is not clarity. Fear is not prophecy. Anxiety is not evidence. You may feel like everything is falling apart, but that does not mean it is. You may feel betrayed, but pause. What is the story you are telling yourself? Emotion distorts, inflates, dramatizes. The Stoic steps back. They breathe. They separate sensation from interpretation. They ask, is this permanent? Is this true? Am I responding to what is or to what I fear? You will not always have perfect answers. You will not always feel steady, but awareness is the beginning of peace. It creates space. It creates breath. It allows you to choose who you will be instead of letting the storm decide for you. This is Stoic emotional mastery, not detachment, but discernment, not coldness, but clarity, not denial, but discipline. The Stoic feels. They ache. They are wounded, but they do not hand over the keys of their soul to emotion. They say, I see you. You may stay for a while, but you will not command me. That is the deeper peace, not one that depends on feeling good, but one anchored in wisdom. A peace that feels sorrow, yet still moves with purpose. That carries pain, yet still acts from virtue. This is what it means to feel without drowning. This is the strength of the Stoic. Chapter 4. Silence is your power. The Stoic speaks rarely, but with weight. Their words are chosen, not scattered. They do not respond to every rumor, every jab, every wave of noise. They know that silence is not weakness. Silence is protection. It is a fortress for clarity. In a world that demands constant reaction, quick replies, loud opinions, the Stoic reclaims power by pausing. They do not compete to be the loudest. They resist the pull to prove. They delay the quick comeback. They wait. They breathe. They understand that peace is not found in the last word, but in the right word, and sometimes in no word at all. This is not withdrawal. It is wisdom. The choice to conserve energy for what matters. The awareness that not every confrontation is worthy of your spirit. The Stoic does not waste calm on the shallow demands of strangers. They know many provocations are bait. They know not every battle needs to be fought. Some battles are won by walking away. Silence, when held with integrity, is often sharper than any sword. Marcus Aurelius reminded, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. To rise above is the greatest resistance. You keep your peace when you remember. Not everything requires your voice. You do not need to answer every insult. You do not need to explain your worth to those who refuse to see it. You do not need to prove your virtue to those who have already decided not to recognize it. Peace is not something to perform. It is not something you perform. It is something you guard. Peace is the invisible boundary that says, you may reach for me, but you cannot move me. Some provocations are nothing but traps, appealing to pride yet offering only exhaustion in return. Some arguments are only noise dressed as urgency. They are chaos seeking company. The wise response is to let them pass. Walk away, not in defeat, but in quiet victory. Your presence is too valuable to be scattered. Silence is not surrender, it is elevation. It speaks, I have nothing to prove to noise. When you speak less, you begin to listen more. You notice what others overlook in their rush to reply. You begin to see how often the urge to speak comes from discomfort, not necessity. In silence, you breathe, you reset, you give space for response instead of reaction. Between stimulus and response, you place patience, and in that space, wisdom grows. Words chosen with care cut through confusion like light in fog. They carry weight because they are few. They become instruments of clarity rather than clutter. Your presence deepens not because you dominate, but because you no longer dilute yourself with endless reaction. People lean in when you speak, not from volume, but from rarity. You become unshakable, not by overpowering, but by being anchored within. You ground yourself in values, not validation. You are known for what you withhold as much as for what you say, for restraint that radiates strength, for calm that whispers authority. I choose when and how to use my voice. Speak less, mean more. Let silence be your shield, not a wall of withdrawal, but a sanctuary for clarity. Let it protect what matters, filter what enters, and guard your peace. Stillness is not absence. It is presence held with intention. In a world addicted to reaction, your stillness becomes resistance. Your restraint becomes influence. Your silence becomes strength. And your peace becomes power. Chapter 5. The Daily Guardian. Each day begins with a quiet test, not of chaos, but of choice. Before the demands arrive, there is a window of stillness. In that stillness, the direction of your peace is set. The Stoic prepares not to control the day, but to meet it. Not to manage every event, but to govern their response. A moment of silence, a return to values, a quiet rehearsal of the self they choose to be. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you wake in the morning, tell yourself, today I will meet people who are meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly, but none of them can harm me." This is not bitterness. It is clarity. To anticipate friction is not pessimism. It is preparation. It is deciding beforehand not to surrender your state to chance. Peace does not come by expecting ease, but by preparing for trial. Not by demanding kindness, but by committing to virtue. You cannot script how others will act, but you can choose how you will respond. Build your morning not as a sprint, but as a shield. Let your routine be your armor. Write your intentions. Ask yourself, who will I be today? What will I guard? What will I release? Do not pray for an easy day. Prepare for a meaningful one. Enter the world not with reaction, but with resolve. Not with armor of steel, but with the self-command that no circumstance can pierce. You will be tested. A delay will frustrate you. A message will irritate you. A burden will fall unfairly on you. Fatigue will tempt you to forget yourself. but because you are ready. You will remember. And that is how peace is preserved, by the guardian you place at the gates of your mind each morning. That guardian is habit. That guardian is awareness. That guardian is the voice within that steadies you louder than the world outside. Chapter 6. Interruptions are your training. Peace is not undone by interruptions. It is revealed through them. Anyone can seem calm in quiet conditions, but Stoic calm is not for appearances. It is for reality. Real peace is proven under pressure. It is not born in retreat alone, but in the noise of the unexpected. It shows itself when plans break, when demands clash, when the day bends in ways you did not intend. The call that wakes you too early, the task delayed without warning, the effort undone after hours of work. These are not just obstacles, they are invitations. Life asking, you said you were ready. Are you? Chapter 6. Interruptions are your training. The things we often call disruptions are, in truth, invitations to practice. The Stoic, always a student, does not resent them. They know that character is not formed in ease, but tested in difficulty. It is revealed when the ground shifts, when the day unravels, when events unfold against our will. Epictetus wrote, "Difficulty shows a person's character. Imagine yourself as an athlete paired with a strong opponent, not to break you, but to strengthen you. The trial is not punishment. It is preparation. To complain about it is to resist the very conditions required for growth." Where most see interruptions as enemies, the Stoic sees them as added weight on the bar. Every delay, every error, every inconvenience is a chance to train. You say you value patience? Here is the test. You claim to be calm? Here is the disruption. You believe you are steady? Here comes the storm. Each moment becomes a ground for practice. Peace is not fragile. It does not shatter at the touch of inconvenience. It grows by being used, by being called into service when least expected. That is why the Stoic does not merely tolerate interruptions. They prepare for them. They do not welcome them with joy, but with readiness. Because each one is a summons to exercise strength, patience, restraint, and clarity. These are not abstract ideals. They are muscles. They grow only when challenged. So when the interruption arrives, do not think, "Why now?" Think instead, "Here is my training." Do not flee from it. Step into it. Let it sharpen rather than weaken you. Let it reveal who you are becoming. Chapter 7. Detach from what you cannot control. The greatest thief of peace is not chaos. It is the illusion of control. The belief that if only you hold tightly enough, anticipate every possibility, and manage every person, you will remain safe. But this is a quiet war against reality, and it is a war no one wins. The Stoic draws a line each day between what is theirs and what is not, between what can be shaped and what must be released. This inner boundary preserves clarity. It is not passivity. It is wisdom, to act fully within your sphere and to let go of what lies outside it. You do not control the weather. You do not control the opinions of others. You do not control the economy, the traffic, or whether today greets you with praise or criticism. But you control your tone, your posture, your effort, your interpretation, your response. Should peace lives here, not in mastery of the external, but in mastery of the internal, not in owning the world, but in owning yourself. Epictetus stated it simply, "Some things are up to us, and some are not." To forget this truth is to suffer. To remember it is to be free. Not free from pain, but from torment. not free from consequence but from unnecessary chains of the mind. Most people tie their peace to outcomes, to recognition, to timing, to applause. The Stoic unknots that rope. They anchor peace not in the unstable winds of circumstance, but in the steady ground of self-command. Chapter 7. Detach from what you cannot hold. Many cling tightly to what was never theirs to control. And when those things slip, as they always do, their peace collapses with them. The applause fades, the plans change, the relationship ends, and because their calm was built on a foundation they did not own, it falls away. The Stoic loosens that grip, not from apathy but from wisdom. They know that effort does not guarantee outcome, that love does not guarantee return, that virtue does not guarantee reward, and yet they still act, they still love, they still strive, because their actions rise from principle, not from promises of return. They act with excellence without clinging to result. They speak sincerely without demanding to be understood. They give fully without being undone by rejection. Their commitment is to the process, not to the prize. To detach is not to withdraw. It is not indifference. It is clarity. It is the practice of giving what is yours to give, then releasing the rest without resentment. It is offering your best and letting go of what does not belong to you. Peace begins at that boundary, the line between what you can shape and what you cannot. That is where freedom lives. That is where the Stoic rests. Not because life is without storms, but because they no longer try to command the wind. So let your grip soften, let your vision sharpen, and let that inner boundary be the gate through which peace walks freely, untouched by the noise of the world. Chapter 8. Master your inner dialogue. If you do not master the voice within, it will be mastered for you, by fear, by doubt, by the noise of the world. The battle for peace often begins in silence, in the conversations you hold with yourself. The Stoic pays close attention to this dialogue, because the words you speak inwardly shape the way you see, the way you act, and the way you endure. Your thoughts are the lens through which reality is filtered. If the lens is cracked by cynicism or clouded by fear, your vision becomes distorted. You are always speaking inwardly. The question is, what tone do you use? Do you feed fear, giving it more weight than it deserves? Or do you remind yourself that courage is not the absence of fear, but the refusal to kneel before it? Do you nurture self-pity, rehearsing every slight? Or do you cultivate resilience, reminding yourself that you were made to carry burdens? The voices of past critics, failures, and careless words may echo in your mind. The Stoic replaces them with the steady voice of a guide, firm but calm, clear but compassionate. They know growth does not come from harshness, but from honest respect for the self. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts." This means the mind is not a neutral ground. It is shaped each day by what we allow to remain in it. Every thought leaves its mark. If left unexamined, thoughts can become false scripts. I always fail. I am unworthy. Peace is not for me. These are not truths. They are distortions born of unchecked emotion. The Stoic does not hand the pen to fear. Peace is not only outward discipline, it is inward dialogue. It is the language you use with yourself when no one else is listening. The language can destroy you or steady you. So examine your thoughts. Test the stories you repeat. Ask, is this accurate? Is it useful? Or is it an old habit mistaken for truth? Speak with honesty, but also with care. Correct without cruelty. Encourage without illusion. The strongest Stoic is not the one who never wavers, but the one who notices the wavering early and guides the mind back before it strays too far. And if your inner voice has been trained in harshness, rewrite it gently, consistently, with intention, because the voice you choose to cultivate becomes the companion you carry through every storm. Begin with a single phrase, a quiet affirmation. One moment where you interrupt the old story and begin a new one. This is not about pretending you are fearless or pretending life is flawless. It is about refusing to let fear narrate your life without question. That choice, that freedom, lies in the words you return to again and again until they form your natural way of thinking. This is not a single rewrite, but a lifelong practice. Each day you notice, you edit, you guide. You catch a thought mid-spiral and steady it. No, I will not shrink here. No, I will not collapse into confusion. I will anchor. No one else lives in your mind but you. So shape it into a place you can walk into without dread. Let it be still when the world grows loud. Let it be clear when the path feels hidden. Let it be gentle when you fall. Build a mind of order, not noise, of principle, not panic, of renewal, not regret, a mind you can trust, an inner refuge guided by reason, guarded by truth, softened by patience. From that space, peace grows, not fragile, but strong enough to meet the world and to guide it. This is the work of the Stoic, to cultivate not noise, but a calm that cannot be shaken. Chapter 9. Guard your attention. You become what you give your attention to, not occasionally but continually. Attention is not neutral. It creates. It shapes your focus, feeds your emotions, molds your beliefs. Wherever you place it, you give it power, and over time, that power reshapes you. The Stoic knows peace cannot live alongside constant distraction. A scattered mind is a weakened life. A divided focus is a divided self. If your attention is pulled from one notification to the next, one worry to another, you are no longer directing your life. You are being directed by it. Seneca once wrote, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." He spoke not only of place, but of mind. You can sit in one room while your thoughts scatter across a dozen regrets, fears, and comparisons. And in that scattering, your strength dissolves. When your attention is divided, your energy drains before the day begins. Not because you lack hours, but because you lack presence. Pieces of you remain elsewhere, in yesterday's mistakes, in tomorrow's anxieties, in endless noise. What is left cannot go deep, cannot create, cannot hold stillness. Without stillness, there is no clarity. Without clarity, no lasting peace. A distracted mind floats on the surface of life. It scrolls instead of studies, reacts instead of reflects, drifts instead of directs. It cannot anchor. It cannot endure. Only by guarding your attention can you reclaim presence, and only with presence can peace take root. Guarding your peace begins with guarding your focus. This is not a passive wish. It is an active discipline. It is the quiet work of deciding what you allow into your mind and what you keep out. Just as you set boundaries for your time, you must set boundaries for your attention. Not everything deserves your gaze. Not every headline deserves your worry. Not every conflict deserves your voice. Think of your mind as a home. You would not open the door to chaos, envy, fear, or vanity, and invite them to sit at your table. Yet often, through unchecked habits or endless scrolling, you allow these very things to enter and shape your inner world. Each click, each repetition of the same worry, each unguarded distraction is a trade, a trade of clarity for clutter, peace for noise, strength for confusion. Your attention is not neutral, it is formative. What you dwell on, you absorb. What you return to in silence becomes the architecture of your character. Each moment of focus is a brushstroke painting the canvas of your inner life. So let your attention rest on what strengthens you, what roots you in principle, what steadies you in difficulty. Let it linger where it nurtures courage and clarity. Guard it carefully, for where your attention settles, your energy follows, and where your energy gathers, your life takes shape. Protect your attention as you protect your peace, because they are inseparable. To attend to what builds you is to tend the soil of a strong, grounded, unshakable soul. Chapter 10. Peace as your legacy. The world is noisy. Let your life offer a different sound, not through resistance fueled by anger, but through composure that does not waver, not through volume, but through quiet strength. Let your stillness speak in ways that noise cannot. Let your calm be a kind of clarity that unsettles chaos simply by refusing to join it. When others hurry, walk with patience. When the noise rises, remain rooted in silence. When people chase shadows, stay with the light already within you. The Stoic does not live for applause but for alignment. Their worth is not measured in approval or recognition, but in the clarity of their conscience. They are not here to impress. They are here to embody. And what they embody most is peace, not temporary calm, not outward performance, but a peace that has been practiced until it has become part of their nature. A peace that does not falter in misunderstanding. A peace that meets opposition with grace. A peace that requires no validation because it rests in wholeness. Such steadiness is rare. It calms the room. It softens the restless. It teaches without instruction. The Stoics' silence becomes a lesson. Their restraint becomes a form of leadership, one that does not coerce but inspires, one that leads without demand. In this way, peace itself becomes their legacy. This is your legacy, not in what you owned, not in the trophies you collected, not in the applause you earned, but in how you moved through life, how you made others feel, how you remained steady when the wind howled, how you met difficulty, not with reaction, but with thought, with depth, with presence. It is whether you left others calmer, steadier, more rooted after encountering you. Whether your children, your friends, your partners, or even strangers saw an example not of perfection, but of presence. Whether they witnessed someone who could hold stillness in the storm, not because it was easy, but because their roots ran deep, unseen, yet unshakable. Whether you became someone others could trust with their vulnerability, someone whose calm reminded them of their own strength. Whether you became a resting place in a world that moves too fast, not because you had all the answers, but because you knew how to be still when others rushed to react. You do not need to be famous. You need to be rooted. You do not need to be loud. You need to be whole, and wholeness is magnetic. It is what makes your silence trustworthy. It allows you to move without seeking attention, to speak without dominating, to love without clinging, to lead without controlling. Wholeness is peace without neediness. It is strength without noise. It is depth that cannot be faked, a presence that invites, not demands. It does not call out to be seen. It simply exists. It draws others not by force, but by offering something rare, a calm that can be felt without words, a gravity that steadies without effort, a wisdom that does not announce itself, but lives in how you live. Let your peace be what remains after you leave the room. Not the words you spoke, but the quiet strength you carried. Let it be the lingering sense of steadiness that softens the edges of others' chaos. Let it be something no one can disturb, no matter how loud the world becomes. Let it be proof that strength does not always fight. Sometimes it simply stands, breathes, and refuses to be pulled into what it does not believe in. That refusal is power. Within it lies a sacred boundary. You will not give your soul to every storm that comes knocking. You will not trade your calm for the approval of the anxious. You will not dilute your peace to match the volume of chaos. Let nothing take your peace, not criticism, not praise, not delay, not urgency, not rejection, not approval, not noise, not silence. Let your peace remain steadier than circumstance, deeper than mood, firmer than pressure, truer than perception. Let it be the invisible force that governs your presence, the unshakable center from which you walk, speak, and act. Let it be the rhythm beneath your reactions, the compass beneath your choices, the shield you carry when emotions surge. Let it shape how you move when the world presses in, how you breathe when time runs short. Wear it like sacred armor in every conversation, every decision, every challenge, every unseen moment. Let it be your signature, not written in ink, but etched in spirit, recognizable to those seeking refuge from their own storms. Let it whisper to them that calm is possible, that grounding is possible, that peace is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is strength in quiet form. Let your peace change the world, not through spectacle but through steadiness, not with fireworks but with presence, not all at once but one moment, one room, one gesture, one person at a time. That is how revolutions begin, quietly, steadily, unshakably. They do not announce themselves. They anchor themselves in principle. And your peace, held firmly and shared freely, becomes the invitation others forgot they were waiting for. It becomes the steady hand that reaches into someone else's storm and reminds them of their own strength. It becomes the calm voice in a room of noise, the stillness that holds firm amid chaos, the light that remains steady even when the wind rises. It becomes the presence that soothes without striving, the example that teaches without speaking. Your peace becomes more than a refuge. It becomes your legacy, a quiet, unwavering light at the center of the storm, a sanctuary built not through withdrawal, but through deliberate strength, a power made visible by what it chooses not to surrender. Let your peace be the quiet revolution, one that does not shake the earth, but roots it